Welcome into Around the Felt. I am your host, Reagan Loescher. We're on episode number 13. Here with me today, we have
Colin Tong. Reagan, crazy week 2 of NFL football.
Yeah.
I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, no, it was a great week for fantasy. I mean, one of the more high-scoring weeks. I think 13 or 14 out of the 16 overs hit this week, so it was a good bounce-back week. A lot of points.
Absolutely.
A lot of high-scoring fantasy matchups, so definitely was interesting. Obviously, my Jets lost.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, Reagan, because you're going to have to pay that bet tomorrow. So if you checked out the previous episode, we made a bet. I had Dallas -9. Reagan had Jets +9. And now, tomorrow, I'm going to make a dish for Reagan, and it's going to have whatever I want in it. That's edible. We're not trying to kill the guy.
Yeah. Don't kill me.
I think I'm preparing some type of liverwurst dish for you with some exotic ingredients.
Ooh. Ew.
I hope you yak. I hope I
yak, too. Mr. Tong, when I yak on your nice island top, you can blame your son for cooking up a yackable meal.
Is he going to have to eat all of it?
Yeah, you have to finish the...
Okay.
Yeah, that was part of the bet. You have to
dish.
finish the dish.
Yeah, I'm probably going to I'll probably puke it up into the pug's bowl and let him eat it.
Oh, no, that's foul.
We'll put a bib on Reagan and everything.
Put a bib on him. But yeah, before we dive into the news from the week, a lot of news happened. We have a pretty big announcement. We're launching the AroundTheFelt.com website. Should be by the end of this week, where we're going to have all of our content in one central place. We're going to start blogging. Our merch will be on there, so we're pretty excited. It's definitely a big step for us.
Yeah, and what you said, the domain's going to be Around the Felt Sports, correct?
Yes, Around the Fort.
Around the Fort. We ain't building forts here. We're talking sports around the felt. Come on.
AroundTheFeltSports.com.
Yeah. So make sure you guys check that out. It'll be a good place. I know Colin wanted to start writing some blogs as well as me
got a lot of
and
thoughts
Joe.
on my mind. I'd like to
a couple other people. So it'd be a good place to hear what we got to say off air.
Absolutely. All right, so let's dive into the NFL news.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with some very bad news. Nick Chubb out for the season.
Yeah,
that was a nasty hit. You feel for him.
That was one of the most gruesome injuries I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's certainly
almost as bad as the college one.
Yeah, the college one was bad too. Same knee, so certainly feel for Nick Chubb.
Well, they're saying he might be out for career. I saw.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
never.
Probably,
same leg.
It's probably too early to tell, but I mean, it's definitely not a good sign.
You never want to speculate, but it looked very bad, and it looked like they fear it's a dislocation with ligament damage. So
yeah, I'd
not
imagine
good.
He's definitely out for the year.
And that really hurts the Browns' chances this season. As we mentioned previously, they're all in this year. Deshaun Watson's cap hit goes through the roof after the season.
Yeah.
So not having Chubb there, because the team needs Chubb. Watson needs Chubb. Chubb doesn't need Watson. Chubb has always been one of the premier backs in the league since he entered it out of Georgia. So it's a big hit for this Browns team for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of the Browns, I would go pick up Jerome Ford in every fantasy league you're in.
Absolutely.
Clearly,
if you're high on waivers. I'm 2 on waivers, and I don't think I'm getting him in my one league.
He stepped in. Clearly was the lead back, got all the touches. So if you can get him in your league, go pick him up. I mean, he was.
And Kareem Hunt too, if he's available, because apparently he was visiting with the Browns today. Although I think Ford is going to have kind of that Chubb role from last year, and Hunt's going to have his normal role.
I honestly don't know if they're going to get him. I truly don't think they're going to get Hunt.
There's a reason they let him go.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the fact that they let him go and then they decided they were fine with Ford makes me think they might go get a different backup. I mean, Pierre Strong didn't look terrible. It was very, very limited last night. So.
I will say Ford, if you take away that 70-yard touchdown run, he was kind of not that efficient outside of that.
Yeah.
I get it. Pittsburgh's defense is phenomenal, though, so I wouldn't necessarily hold that against them. It's a tough matchup to draw, but yeah. And then talking other running back news, Saquon Barkley, sprained ankle. Schefter reported he's out around 3 weeks, but Dable's not ruling him out for Thursday. I think that's a little bit of gamesmanship, but
I think that's 100% gamesmanship. I don't think there's a chance in hell he plays.
There's no way he plays.
They'd be fools to play him. Why would you risk it?
Especially against San Francisco, which is a very difficult game in itself.
You guys play your next game on Monday night, so I mean it's an 11-day turnaround. Why push him to play?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to win the game anyway, so why even risk getting him injured?
I mean, the Rams played him tough, so I don't think they're invincible, but yeah, especially against a team that's so good against
the Rams did play him at home. You guys are playing him on the road on a short week, so
that's a good point as well. But yeah, I'd say it's good that he came in and he looked a lot better than what they all anticipated because maybe it gives him a better shot for that Seattle game, and I think that's what they're going to.
Plus, I mean, I'd rather have Matt Breida. Honestly, it's a revenge game, so he's going to get the bump up.
That's true.
So
Matt Breida,
you want someone who's got revenge on their mind.
I love it. In other news, Joe Burrow, the guy who's been killing me in fantasy, tweaks his calf yet again. You could kind of tell it was bothering him. I mean, he's been kind of immobile. He hasn't looked like himself. And now it's tweaked. I think it's very unlikely he plays next Monday night against Tampa Bay.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they don't play Tampa Bay. They play the Rams.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the Rams.
Yeah,
yes.
But still, I mean, it's probably why the spread right now I saw was like 1 point in favor of the Bengals. But I know it should be interesting. I mean, I feel like they almost got to play him. I mean, even with him being immobile. I mean, I know it's tough to say, like, if they start 0-3, like, in that tough of a conference, it's going to be tough. And if Baltimore goes to 3-0, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, if they both win their games and they get to 2-1 each, I mean, then you're 3 games back and everyone else is 2 up on you.
It's definitely a tough spot.
It's a tough spot.
He's probably going to push to play, but you also don't want to risk him hurting that Achilles as well. Because when that calf was vulnerable, it opens that up more.
Yeah.
I will say the Bengals started 0-2 last year, finished 12-4, so they can make a turnaround. But if Joe Burrow's not himself, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely one where you hope he's all right and can play. But, I mean, I get it at the end of the day because, like you said, it's a long season. So if he is to miss, then who even is
Jake Browning is the
Jake
backup.
Browning.
I don't know
if he's
about Jake
NFL
Browning.
snap.
Well, he's a rookie. No, I'm pretty sure he's a rookie.
I could look at.
He's out of Washington. I know that.
So I mean, that's gonna be tough. Oh no, he's not a rookie, but still, I mean, that's gonna be tough.
He looks like a bum.
He's 27. Has he ever?
He is out of Washington.
Has he ever played an NFL snap?
No, I don't
started
believe
the
so.
game?
I don't believe so, no.
So, I mean, that definitely makes that Rams game interesting.
Yeah, it does absolutely make it interesting.
Because I think it would have been good even if Burrow played, but we can get more into that next episode because we'll probably have more clarity by Thursday.
Yeah. In other quarterback news, Mahomes signs a record $210.6 million deal from 2023 to 2026, which makes it the most guaranteed money in a 4-year span in NFL history.
Wow, shocker.
Rightfully earned.
Yeah.
And it's not that, because he signed that 10-year deal, it's not that, okay, now he's done after 2026. They just said, all right, we're going to see what the market's like in 4 years. We're going to revisit it, and then you're going to become the highest paid player again, most likely. So,
yeah,
good for him.
He's got him 2 Super Bowls already.
Yeah, MVPs, so that's how it should be. Because when he started falling down that ladder and everyone started outpacing him, it was only a matter of time before Mahomes got back up on top.
Yep.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson tore his pec out indefinitely, possibly the season.
Yeah.
That's tough for the back end of that Lions defense, a defense that we already didn't really trust that much.
Yeah,
and he's a great player.
Played well the first 2 games. He's got them all wearing the masks out there.
Yeah, dude.
Stuff. So
yeah,
I saw Tim Robinson, the comedian, was at the game wearing the mask too.
No shot, dude.
Yeah.
That's my favorite comedian. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Who was
someone send me that?
Friend, the other guy too.
I forget.
Tim Robinson, bro. I think you should leave the
guy that he
does.
The one black guy that does the comedian stuff with him.
He was
on a show.
He's hilarious too. What's his name?
I'll look it up right now.
Because they do it together. But
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big Tim Robinson fan.
Dude, he's hilarious.
I was showing Huffy it the other day. He was dying laughing.
Yeah, it's the funniest late night show to watch.
Some skits are funny.
But
I will say they're total hit or miss. It's either what the hell's going on here or they're hilarious.
So
it's just
Tim Robinson, the mask.
Some of it's cringy.
I'm gonna Google that right after this.
He had the mask on. It was funny.
That's awesome.
He's big. He's a big Detroit Lions fan. I know that.
Yeah.
Sam Richardson was the other guy.
Yeah, Sam Richardson.
He's in some really funny movies actually.
Yeah, and he's been in a couple of his skits too. But they were both at the game with the masks on. And then they're like, "Oh, where'd you get him?" And they're like, "Amazon." But we're not giving them a free shout out or something.
Yeah, they're not plugging Amazon.
That's awesome, dude. And finally, in NFL news, Cam Akers is going to be traded. They shut him down, so now it's Kyren Williams' backfield.
Yeah, I mean, if I had Cam Akers in fantasy, I'm definitely not dropping him because
if
he goes to a good
Cleveland.
situation,
maybe he goes to Cleveland.
I'd save him now. I mean, if it turns out they can't trade him, then I think you can drop him. But if they're able to trade him, I'd wait and see. So hopefully that happens sooner than later, so you're not just wasting a bench spot on a guy you can't put on the IR. But
everyone might just make the Rams hold on to him, just release him.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't want to give up draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He'll go somewhere else. It's just very strange. The Cam Akers saga in Los Angeles has just been strange from the past couple years.
He's been pretty inefficient most of his career. He just had a good stretch at the end of last year that made you think, oh, he's turning the corner. But then he comes out this year and looks super inefficient week 1. Last minute scratch in week 2, so weird situation.
Very weird. All right, well, that concludes our NFL news. Let's hop over to questions. Joe, what do we got?
All right, our first question is from Marissa. Marissa reads books. With the new rumors about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce hanging out, can you give us the rundown of him for the Swifties?
Yeah, me and Trav hang out all the time. He's a great dude now. Man. He's a Super Bowl champ. He's an NFL legend, and she's a music legend. So I guess it's a good fit. They're both blondes. I don't know.
I'm a big Swiftie, so I'm definitely happy for her and Travis. If this is true.
Can you name a Swiftie song?
Now we got Bad Blood. I know Colin actually, or Bad Blood, whatever it is. I know Colin was saying before he doesn't like Taylor Swift at all. So
that's not true.
Swifties should come after him.
I like Love Story.
Good song.
It's a good tune.
But yeah, no, I mean, if that's true, we got ourselves a cool couple for the
cool couple
out there. It'll be cool. Maybe he'll break her heart and she could come out with some bangers soon. So
yeah, or she breaks his heart and he goes on a fucking tear for my fantasy team.
Yeah, so we'll see.
It's a win-win for both of them.
Yeah, one of them's gonna go off, whether it's her making a sick album for you guys or him having a crazy season. So if it's true, but
yeah, good question, Marissa. Appreciate the support.
All right, so next we got a question from D-Rock, and he says it's a question for
What kind of name is D-Rock, first off?
D-Rock?
How does it feel that your Jets, Reagan, at Giant Life are underdogs to the bum-ass Patriots?
How does it feel that my Jets are underdogs at Giant Life against the bum-ass Patriots, you say?
Dave, I can't believe a firm high.
I don't really care about the spread, Dave. I mean, does that really matter? I just care if we win the game, so we can come in at 20-point underdogs. As long as we win, I'm happy.
He's just saying that your team sucks more than
How
the
does
Patriots.
it feel that your team's 10.5-point underdogs at the 49ers?
Patriots are the Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, I didn't know that they are. That's
I thought Paul would ask that question. Paul's going to like that.
Yeah, Paul, you'll probably love Drock calling your team the bum-ass Patriots.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say the Patriots have lost 2 games, but they've lost to the Eagles and the Dolphins, and they haven't gotten blown out in either, so they are playing pretty tough.
It's going to be a low-scoring game, I guess.
They had a chance to win both those games.
It's gonna be a lot like the one last year that was like 10-3 when the Patriots at the last second punt return touchdown. It's going to be low-scoring.
But yeah, the Patriots ceiling is not very high at all. But they're playing teams tough.
Their defense is very good, though.
I said their ceiling was 9 wins, and Paul was like, "How's that their ceiling?" I'm like, dude.
Because of the bum-ass Patriots, that's why, Paul.
Mac Jones is your quarterback.
He also asks, well, this isn't really... He goes, Bears under is 7.5 is a horse cock, so it's not a question, it's just...
Why? Yeah. Okay, Dave...
Me and Dave...
You were the one that said you wanted us to take the over, first off, so...
You were. Ago. Me and Dave...
So what is this?
I have a handshake bet. I have under 7.5. He is over, and I appreciate you trying to get me the win after 2 weeks, maybe some reverse psychology. It's a long season, Dave. I will say, though, we will get in the Bears... Justin Fields does not look like he's developed in that player a lot of people expected this season. Terrible. They still have no defense. They still can't rush the passer. They still can't cover anybody. Fields still can't process what's in front of him. He still holds the ball. He still takes sacks. I don't know why everyone thought the Bears were going to win 8 games and Fields was going to be in the MVP conversation.
Let's not take our victory lap yet. It's 2 weeks into the season.
I just said, no reverse psychology, but damn, they look bad.
In the pocket, yeah. You just had wide receivers.
Dude, and it's not like they've lost to legit teams, man. They lost to the Bucs and they lost to the Packers.
Yeah,
those aren't legit teams. They're good teams. They're solid teams, but.
We'll see.
Bucs are definitely better than we thought.
Long season, but definitely looking better for the under
Another
than the over.
statement from Dave. He also just said Najee's the worst back in the league.
Yeah. Well, I will say...
Wow, Dave. I wonder why you're saying that. Maybe the fact that you traded him away in Dynasty and you want to make yourself feel better. Still a bad trade, buddy. Still a bad trade.
I was on the other end of that trade.
And, all right, now we got Matt Chirk, and he asks, do the Broncos move off Russell Wilson after this year?
I will say Russell Wilson had a At least the stat sheet was filled, I will say, this past weekend.
He didn't look good, though. It was just, like, good for fantasy.
Yeah, 50-yard Hail Mary helped.
But if you guys, like, saw... I was watching Red Zone, because once the Jet game got out of hand, I flipped over to Red Zone. He did not look good at all.
The first half, he looked good, and then second half, he had a shit.
It's so misleading, though. Like, if I had him in fantasy football, like in a 2-quarterback league or even a 1-quarterback league, I'd be trying to trade him. He's ranked number 3 for fantasy right now.
I have him in 2-quarterback league as my second quarterback.
Really?
Well, Bryce Young's my other option, so I'm not
He's definitely been good for fantasy, but for NFL-wise, he really hasn't been great. I think if they don't make the playoffs, I think for sure they move off of him because I don't know how you could run it back a third year with that defense.
Yeah, it already seems like Sean Payton kind of doesn't want Russell Wilson. He kind of wants his own guy. So
yeah,
I think it's certainly a possibility. But then again, you're gonna have a ton of dead cap to get out of that contract, which that's gonna be my first block.
I could still see a team. I could still see a team going and trading for him even with that contract.
No way.
That's a big.
If Sean Payton lets him go, that's damaged goods. You'd have to
What are you thinking? The Jets do that?
No, not the Jets. Okay. No way. We wouldn't even be able to afford him with Rodgers' contract.
I don't know who would be desperate enough. And it's also a really good quarterback draft class next year. I don't know what team's desperate enough to even take on any of that contract when you can get a rookie quarterback and try to develop one.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
He also asked, is Dallas worth a Super Bowl future?
God, I mean, no. Because although they look really good now,
what are their odds?
Although they look really good now, they're the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to choke in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think they're totally worth the Super Bowl future. First off,
Dak is going to choke in the playoffs. All right, their defense is elite, but
dude, they're definitely worth the Super Bowl future.
I
mean, I would throw the future
right now. Best team right now, but like if
their defense has been insane, their offense looks improved. I mean, the way they played against they just lit up the Jets, one of the better defenses in the league, and they lit up the Giants. I mean, that was more special teams and stuff, but their defense looks elite. Their offense looks improved. Granted, we're not going to get a true test this week either against the Cardinals.
They're plus 850.
Plus 850. Yeah, I think they're worth it. I mean,
no. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think there's donating money. It's the same old Cowboys. We've seen them be the number 1 seed.
The NFC's so weak though. Like if it's all they really have to get through is the 49ers and the Eagles. Are there any other teams you truly believe can make the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but I think they're going to have to get through both the 49ers and Eagles. I don't think they
Maybe not. I mean, they could win. I wouldn't be that. Would you be that shocked if Dallas wins that division?
I don't think they're getting the 1 seed. Yeah. I don't think they're getting the 1 seed.
I wouldn't be shocked if they got the 1 seed. Dallas always plays well in the regular season.
They play the Eagles twice, so that will be the biggest test.
Yeah. I definitely think it's worth throwing a little bit on it. I mean, at the end of the day, the odds aren't going to shift much in either direction at this point. I mean, maybe if they lose a couple, it'll go up.
Early in the year.
Dude, they're always a good regular season.
I think if you want to throw it, now's the time to throw it because I think the odds are only going to get better and better, and you're not going to make as much.
They have a tough schedule. I don't know. I'd say throw it now, but
yeah.
All right, what we got
next we got Kyle Curley, and he said, which team's performance has surprised you the most?
I'd say for me, it's definitely Atlanta. I mean, they haven't really beaten anyone amazing yet, but the fact that they're 2-0 in 2 games I thought they were going to lose, I really thought Arthur Smith...
Yeah, my Falcons, baby.
I wasn't expecting him to be this good. I was super confident in Green Bay this week, to be honest. Their running offense seems to be working well. We'll see when they go against a better team better than the Packers and Panthers, but so far it's looking good. Arthur Smith's looking like his system's working well in year 3. Year 2 or year 3 with him?
Year 3, I believe.
Year 3. Mm-hmm. So I'd say they're my surprise team so far. I don't think they're going to be anything crazy by the end of the year, but I still am surprised with how well they're playing it early on.
I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and my boy Baker Mayfield. 2-0. I mean, I expect him to beat the Bears, but a lot of people weren't expecting him to beat the Vikings week 1. I think they were like 5-point dogs. Yeah, I did like that too, but yeah, man, Baker's playing really well. I saw that like all the main quarterback metrics, like his stats are better than Deshaun Watson's right now, which is super funny because they gave Watson all that money and Baker's like a cast-off. But he's playing really well. He's developed a connection with Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Defense is playing well. 2-0 for the Bucs, man. Yeah. I didn't think they'd be playing this well.
Well, those are two. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting with both those teams because neither of them have really played any like crazy competition.
Same division. We'll see what happens. They play each other.
I'll also honestly say the Rams. I'm surprised with. I didn't expect them to be this good so far. I mean, they played the 49ers.
That's a good one too.
Most of the game, and then they beat the Seahawks.
They beat the hell out of the Seahawks.
And even with the Cardinals being 0-2, they played the Giants and Washington tough. I don't think anybody expected them to be in games.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly thought they were going to get blown out both games. So, Yeah, those are some teams. A lot of NFC teams surprised me. Not really much in the AFC. I guess the Bengals being 0-2 and the Chargers being 0-2.
That's more disappointing.
But, yeah.
All right, next from Max. Of the 0-2 teams and even the 1-1 teams, who makes a bounce back and leads their team to the playoffs? Bengals and Chargers are the top of my list.
Yeah, I have the Bengals and Chargers both in playoffs preseason. Like we mentioned before, Bengals started this way last year, and they were just fine, even though they lost in the playoffs. This year, it seems a little bit more sketch, just with Burrow's calf injury. With the Chargers as well, I still think they can make a bounce back, but like Brandon Staley needs to figure it out because that defense is playing so bad, and he's a defensive-minded head coach, and they keep losing these close games, but they have just way too much talent in that defense to be playing this poorly, and if they don't figure it out soon, they might dig themselves too deep of a hole. I think Denver, they're 0-2, but I mean, we both kind of like Denver to be better this year, but I mean, they're already digging themselves a hole. Yeah. I don't think the Pats can make a push.
I mean, I would say Minnesota and Chicago both aren't out by any stretch. I mean, they're both 0-2, but both Green Bay and Detroit are only 1-1, so that's still wide open, that division.
I do like Minnesota more than Chicago, though.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
And, Chargers play Minnesota next week, too.
That's a big game. It's a big game.
I'm kind of out on the Chargers completely, honestly.
Same. I'm not on.
I just feel like they're going to play a lot of high-scoring shootouts, and they're going to...
Yeah, but I mean, that's not a good thing to be in.
No, it's not. They got to play defense.
Herbert has
nothing's proven they can play defense.
Quarterback.
But you're paying Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack so much money. Like, come on.
I think this week's game is going to be another, like, both teams putting up 30. It's going to be really high scoring again.
Yeah, I like that.
He also asked, not a gambling question, but is Justin Fields the worst quarterback in the NFL at the moment? And he does not want to hear that Zach Wilson is worse.
Oh, he knew I was going to say that, too.
He might be.
Well, Fields has definitely struggled. And he didn't take.
He's definitely making it a conversation to be one of the worst in the NFL.
Isn't Wilson leading the league in interceptions already? I know he has.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He has 4 right now, right?
I mean, Fields' completion percentage is terrible.
In fairness,
he did play the Cowboys.
Well, look who Wilson played. He played the Bills and the Cowboys. Look who Fields played. So I honestly think there is a case that Fields is the worst quarterback currently.
Did you see that video that was circling on social media of Fields and Fields ain't it, like this is over, and it's him just sitting in the pocket with protection for like 4 to 5 seconds.
Dude, it happened.
And DJ Moore's wide open in the flat, and he's just looking around, and then he just takes a sack. Like he took 6 more sacks. He can't process things, and
he's not the. I'm not going to overreact and say he's the worst quarterback in the league, but I mean.
Yeah, he's not the worst, but he's down there.
He's averaging a little over 200 yards a game, 6.5 yards a pass. Like, he's got 2 touchdowns but 3 picks,
and he's not running the ball. I think he's like 13 rushing attempts this year.
Yeah, he's only got 62 rushing yards.
That's the only thing he was good at.
Yeah, because teams have film on him now, and they're putting a spy on him, so he's not able to get outside the pocket like it was last year and have these electric runs. They're forcing him to sit there and pick apart a defense and process it, and he can't do it, which is awful.
I would say Wilson's actually been better than Fields, shockingly. I mean, you can make a case that Bryce Love's been, or not Bryce Love. Bryce Young has been one of the worst quarterbacks so far too. But I mean, he's a rookie.
I don't think that's on his shoulders though. Like when you watch the game, you're like, no one gets open,
and they don't really let him. Like they also don't really let him do much.
They don't catch the ball.
It's all quick game, and no one gets open.
I mean, you could say him too.
You could say Deshaun Watson as well. Deshaun Watson with 3 turnovers last night. I mean, Watson's definitely down there too, man.
On him though. But the fumble was definitely on Watson.
Yeah. Well, the strip sack, that was on Jedrick Wills. I saw that video. That was pathetic.
So, I mean, there's a couple guys, but yeah, Fields really...
I mean, with Watson's contract, he's definitely the worst. Because those other, like, Young's not getting paid anything.
Yeah, you're foreshadowing my blog, my first blog.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting into that.
All right, well, next we got, what is Eckler's deal, and do you think he is worth taking the risk and trading for in leagues?
It's just weird that it's an ankle injury.
That's still Max.
Oh, Max.
It's an ankle injury, and Staley said no timetable, but
I think it's worth the risk.
Supposedly he's gonna come back sooner rather than later. So if you can get,
I think they need him to come back sooner than later. I mean, if they lose this week, how many weeks can you really hold them out? Like, I'd still take a 50% Austin Eckler. I mean, he's still.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly's played well as well. Like, he's not their problem.
He looked terrible this week.
Their problem is their defense.
Kelly didn't do shit this week.
Yeah, well, he had a great week 1.
Yeah, but I mean, that's half.
Yeah, but you're also playing against Tennessee, and we've talked about their defensive front. It's just a tougher matchup, so I understand. But
still,
running back's not the
I
problem.
would definitely try. If you can get Eckler for cheap right now, I'd definitely target him.
Yeah, I absolutely would too.
What will Jahmyr Gibbs' production look like while Montgomery is hurt? Do they still ease him in or just let him loose?
I mean,
I feel like they're not going to let him loose. I think
I still feel like they're not going to let him loose.
Yeah, I just think the way they want to run this offense is they just want to feature two backs and they don't want to kill Gibbs right away. So I think they kind of drafted him.
What's the point of drafting him so high?
No, I don't know, but I don't think he's going to get too much of an. I think he'll get a slight uptick, but I still don't think he'll be the in between the tackles guy and the red zone guy. Like they just called up Bam Knight. Craig Reynolds stepped in last week. He's a guy who's had a little bit of success in the league already out of Kutztown. So yeah, I think Craig Reynolds is going to step into that David Montgomery role. Another guy I'd try to target in fantasy if you need a spot start, because I think he's going to get all the goal line work and 15 carries this week. So
yeah, I understand their thought process of not running Gibbs between the tackles a ton because he doesn't really have the frame for that.
Yeah,
he's more of an explosive
also,
outside
I think
threat.
teams are starting to get smarter.
Yeah,
too.
so they do need another guy to complement him. However, I do think you got to involve Gibbs more than what they are so far.
No, I think you should involve him more. I just don't know if they will involve him more because I think they're worried about
two different questions.
I think they're worried about the playoffs. So I still don't think he's going to get a huge uptick because they kind of want to save him for the full season. So,
all right. Well, Hugh Chavez with a bot question here. Should the Giants tank for Caleb Williams after an ugly win against a poverty Cardinals team and still having a running back that is made out of paper mache?
Next question.
I'll answer that. I'll answer that.
That's a stupid-ass question.
The Giants fans. I mean, I'm saying, yeah, obviously they should tank for him, but they're not gonna be the worst team in the league.
Why should they tank for him?
Caleb Williams is going to be a game changer, but no. In all reality, no, they shouldn't tank for him. Like they're too good to tank for him, even if they wanted to.
You don't tank for anybody at week 2.
Sorry,
the Cardinals.
Sorry, if it was a different team, they'd be in a little bit high spirits. But tell them.
You sound like fucking Kimberly Martin on ESPN that last year when they were 6-1 saying, just be terrible and just get a high draft pick and get a quarterback. Just be terrible. I'm like, we're fucking 6-1. What are you talking about? And we won a playoff game. Like, it was one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard.
What was the Saquon thing? What do you say?
They said he's made of paper machete.
Okay. There's no question. Yeah, I mean that's been pretty proven.
Like every running back in the NFL right now.
I mean Saquon, it's been proven year in and year out. It's difficult for him to stay healthy, but
like every running back.
I think it's the last year with him on the Giants anyway. So
all right, no one asked for your opinion on that part.
Oh Next question. Well, I gave my opinion, so sorry. He'll be off the Giants after this year.
Nick Chubb made out of paper mache too. All right, Tyler Goodwin, our cousin Brandon, who selected Ja'Marr Chase. Oh, all right, Braden.
Don't ever make that mistake again. Wow,
not Brandon. All right, our cousin Braden, who selected Ja'Marr Chase and Nick Chubb with his first 2 picks, has fallen to 0-2.
Damn,
Any
that
tips
sucks,
to prevent the little guy from coming in last and getting punished at the end of the season?
So first off, Brandon, I would say I would say that not to panic. I think Chase is going to obviously pick it up. There's no way a guy that talented.
He'll be fine.
And then Chubb, that sucks, but
you just gotta find other options, man. It's tough.
Try to go get Jerome Ford. If you're 0-2, you're probably. It sounds like if you're calling him like little guy and all this stuff, it's probably not too serious of a league. So I would imagine that you guys probably don't play Fab. Therefore, if he's 0-2, he's probably got one of the highest waiver claims. So I would put it in for Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I also hate to throw it in there, but I don't think Braden knows who Jerome Ford is, and I don't think he'll figure it out.
Yeah, or Kyron Williams. I mean, Braden, if you're listening to this, or Brandon, what is it? Braden, if you're listening to this, I mean, you could just look at the projections and see what guys are projected the highest next week, and that'll kind of give you a good test of the running backs to pick up.
Getting back to the basics here.
And what's the punishment for that, or you're not in that league?
I have no idea. I just think Tyler's just, I don't know if there is a punishment. He's just fucking around.
Oh.
All right, that concludes our questions.
Punishment is big cousin Tonk shoves you in the locker on Thanksgiving.
Whoa. In the cabinet.
Hey, yo, okay.
Hey, yo. All right, well, that concludes...
He shoves the turkey's head.
The questions when we... When we get back, we're going to dive into Minnesota, Philly. What's up, everyone? It's Colin from Around the Felt. As mentioned earlier in the podcast, we'll be launching the AroundTheFeltSports.com website later this week with tons of new content for you guys, including videos and blogs, so stay tuned for that. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, so like Colin said, we got the website coming up soon, so keep an eye out for that. We'll post on the social medias where you can find it. So, yeah, we got 2 more questions we wanted to go through. What were they that Jared asked?
Yeah, so Jared asked, who is your pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year through 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting.
A lot of good options.
Right off the bat, I want to say Puka Nacua, but it's hard to say that for certain because we don't know what it'll happen when Cooper Kupp comes back. I mean, when a guy has 25
into his next question.
When a guy has 25 catches through 2 games, like in his rookie season,
crazy. NFL record.
Those are like MVP numbers.
He's on pace for like over 200 receptions this year.
Yeah, so I would say Nacua through 2 weeks, but a lot of it depends on when Kupp comes back and what his role is with Kupp.
Yeah, I think Kupp's going to eat a lot of those targets away from Nacua. I still think he'll be valuable, but I'm going to stick with my preseason pick. Bijan Robinson had a hell of a week. This week, 19 for 124, and then 4 receptions for 48, and he looks like the real deal. The way he can stop and start, the cuts that he makes, he looks like an all-pro back.
How many carries did Algier have?
16 for 48. So
wow, so he's involved, like I said.
Shit ton.
Yeah, he's involved.
Oh, yeah.
Bijan's the lead back.
You remember when you were saying, when I said he would have over 100 carries? And you were like, no, there's not a chance in hell, and the guy's already got over 30 carries in 2 games.
I don't recall that conversation.
Well, we'll find the clip. We'll find the clip.
Find the clip.
And I'll show it to you. I remember getting a lot of shit for saying Algier was still
lead back.
Yeah, he is, but I told you Algier's still going to be heavily involved. So,
yeah, okay.
And then what was the other question?
His other question was, what does
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. Right, do you want to stroke your cock a little more, or can we keep going?
You can stroke it.
You good? You good? You good? All right. Yeah, let's keep going.
So his other question was, what does Puka Nacua look like when Cooper comes back? You guys kind of already answered that, but another question you had was, who's to blame for the Chargers being 0-2?
I think it's Staley, the defense.
I think it's fully the defense. I mean, I know I still am not putting Herbert in that category, but like they're still putting up like over 30 points a game, and like the defense had 0 sacks in the first game. Like when you're paying
with Teron Armstead out,
yeah, and then the fact that they let up 37 to Tennessee this week, or whatever it was,
27,
like 27,
37.
It was 27-24.
So no, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking of the Seattle game. So the fact that they just have already allowed over 60 points, and it's only 2 weeks into the season, like with that high of a payroll, I think the defense needs to step it up.
I mean, yeah, when you pay J.C. Jackson 5 years, I believe it was like $90 million. You know, you got Bosa, you got Mack. They got to step up and make plays. You got Derwin James back there too. Like, come on,
yeah,
you can't be getting
Plus
shit
Herbert
on like
didn't
this.
Have Eckler this week,
Staley's a defensive-minded coach. And in today's NFL, it seems like the most successful teams all have offensive-minded head coaches. So if you're going to have a defensive head coach, usually it's to protect your quarterback and play defense, protect the football. But their offense is scoring a lot of points, and their defense is screwing them. So I blame Staley as well.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well,
Who's on the hot seat, by the way? He's definitely in the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll get fired mid-season, but I think that seat's heating up real quick. All right, so let's segue right into the game. So the first game, we had the Eagles beating the Vikings 34-28.
Before we get into the games, should we talk about the records for the week?
Oh, yeah, you can.
So in week 2, we both went 11-5 with the money line with our picks. Reagan went 8-7-1. I went 10-5-1. The push being Saints -3. That was exactly 3. So on the season, we're tied at 18-13-1 against the spread. Reagan's 21-11 money line. I'm 18-14 money line.
Yeah, so we'll I'll post that on the Instagram again, so you guys can all see the updated standings as well.
Yeah. All right, so back to this game.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the Thursday night game. We saw the Eagles defeat the Vikings in a pretty high scoring affair, 34-28.
Very high scoring.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is now the #1 fantasy.
Whoa!
Oh my God!
Sorry, guys.
Need someone to slap your back or something?
You need a Tums,
I had
dude?
some Spanish food before we started this, so.
Jesus.
Yeah, cheeky little backdoor cover out of Minnesota here.
Yeah, and Cousins freaking is the #1 fantasy quarterback right now.
Cousins with 364 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jefferson just does his thing, 11 for 159, but again, no touchdown. He's kind of the king of off.
And honestly, touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, they say he can't play in primetime, but he definitely
shut him up.
A lot of it was garbage time, I'll say that. But when your defense allows DeAndre Swift, a guy who barely touched the ball the week prior, to go for 175,
that was bad.
Fresh legs.
Definitely not a good look.
That was our concern with Minnesota preseason.
Yeah, it wasn't a Kirk Cousins
is not
issue.
Good. Kirk Cousins just did his thing. Addison, 3 for 72, another touchdown. You love that. Hawkinson had another big day. I mean, it's like every time I play this guy in fantasy, he scores multiple touchdowns. Like, it's just unbelievable. 762 for 2 touchdowns. One thing I noticed is KJ Osborne outsnapped Addison in weeks 1 and 2. But Osborne had a couple bad drops in this game.
Yeah,
and Addison's making plays downfield, so
another touchdown for Addison. That's another guy that you could make a case for rookie of the year.
Was also wide open. Like all 3 of us could have got that.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised even in week 3, Addison overtakes him as the wide receiver too. I think that's coming.
I think so. I mean, they spent a first-round pick on the guy, and he's already got 2 touchdowns that are deep balls, so he's clearly looks good so far.
Absolutely.
But I'm good with that game. So next up, we saw the Falcons in a game we both thought the Packers were going to win, defeating them 25-24. It's a weird game.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of field goals in this game, first off.
Nice little comeback by Atlanta.
Koo had 4. So Atlanta could have really put up a lot more points, but they weren't. They couldn't put it in the end zone. Also, Desmond Ridder shockingly threw a pick, a guy who rarely turns the ball over. I'm almost positive that's his. That was Ritter's first career pick in 6 games started.
Wow.
So,
Green Bay has a good defense.
They do, but that's one thing I'll say about Ridder. Even though he might not be moving the ball a ton downfield, he's very smart. He doesn't turn over the ball.
Yeah, and that's
the fact that it was his first pick in 6 games. I mean, 4 games last year as a rookie, and then 2 into this year. It took him 6 games to throw a pick. Pretty impressive.
That's kind of what Arthur Smith wants. He wants a guy that's going to play his offense, run his scheme, protect the football, rely on the running game, play action off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they ran the ball 45 times, and they threw it 32,
ridiculous.
which is a ridiculous split.
Yeah, but not common for today's league.
We talked about Bijan. He went off. Algier, I mean, he only had 3 yards per carry. Not his best day. Ritter even carried it 10 times for 39, which is crazy. But, man, I would just love to see them open up this passing attack. And it just seems like Arthur Smith is never going to do it.
Well, it was a good game for Drake London. I mean, 6 for 67 and 1.
He had a touchdown.
I mean, Kyle Pitts is a non-factor.
What are they...
I didn't expect him. He's doing nothing as expected.
Why take him number 4 overall if you're not going to utilize it? It makes no sense.
I mean, in fairness, that wasn't an Arthur Smith pick, but still, I agree.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, but still, that's like... I don't know, man. You have such heavily invested.
I think they should just trade him and get what they can. He clearly doesn't fit the system. I mean, Jonnu Smith was more involved than him.
Yeah. Plus, Jonnu Smith was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee. Like,
and he's also a freak athlete. He is a freak athlete too. That you can.
It's just weird, you know. But what a fourth quarter comeback out of Atlanta. Now on the Green Bay side, Love was efficient. Love was efficient. He threw 3 touchdowns, but only 151 yards. So I don't know. It seems like they haven't opened up the passing game yet. They're still kind of.
Another big game from a rookie, too. Jaden Reed, 2 touchdowns.
Jaden Reed, shout out Zach. That's his boy. 2 touchdowns. You love to see that. They really dispersed the ball over the field. Not a lot of yards for anyone. A lot of guys had targets. You know, rookie Musgrave, 2 for 25. Dobbs, 2 for 30. I think they're missing Christian Watson to stretch the field.
I mean, and Aaron Jones. They didn't have him in this game
they didn't have
either,
Aaron Jones either. They had a hell of a game week 1. Dillon was pretty inefficient, 15 for 55. So, close game. We both thought Green Bay, but, you know. My Falcons won, so I'm fine with it. We got that bet.
Yeah. All right. Next up, the Bills absolutely bounced back with a 38-10 victory.
I mean,
I called it. You called it. We both said they were going to beat them.
28-10.
38.
No, 38-10.
It was 38.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm a casual.
Yeah. Go back to sleep, buddy. Like we said, we both expected them to have a big bounce back game. I mean, they blew them out after the first drive. I'm sure a lot of Bills fans were worried. After Garoppolo drove him downfield and scored, it was 7-0, and then pretty much after that point they shut him down. I mean, I heard today that Josh Jacobs was actually the first running back I think to ever lead the league in rushing to then have, after he led the league in rushing, to have a negative yards in a game.
9 carries for -2 rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty shocking for a guy that led the league in rushing last year. The fact that he was -2 on the ground, and especially because. But, I mean, granted, the Raiders only had 15 carries, and when you get down that early, it's going to be hard to run the ball. But a team like Buffalo got lit up on the ground against the Jets, so they clearly made the adjustments needed.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo usually doesn't get lit up on the ground. They have a great defensive front. Matt Milano is one of the best linebackers in football, so that was pretty surprising. But,
and they took that to heart, I guess. I mean,
yeah, Garoppolo struggled with 2 picks, man. I don't know. I mean, at least Devontae had another good game. He did his thing, but... Yeah, I mean, I saw Hunter Renfrow. He had 1 catch for 23 yards. Apparently, the OC came out and said he's not out of the game plan, but he's been a subject of trade talks. I could totally see him out the door. It seems like Garoppolo doesn't want to target him at all. On the Buffalo side, I mean, James Cook, breakout game, 17 for 123.
Yeah.
Love to see that. He also added 4 for 36 through the air.
If I could get him in fantasy right now, I'd definitely be targeting him. He looked really good against the Jets, and this is another game where he looked even better. I would definitely try to target him in fantasy if you can get him.
He's explosive. Clearly the lead back. Even though Damian Harris and Latavius Murray both
that's the only thing. He's not going to get the goal line where both of those guys are bigger and have had a track record of being guys that have a nose for the end zone. I mean, Damian Harris led the league in rushing touchdowns in 1 year, so the fact that Cook's involved on the third down back and pretty much the between the tackle guy outside of the red zone makes me want to target him.
The receiving upside
helps.
Kind of balance that out a little bit.
Yep.
Dalton Kincaid, 5 for 43 too. I love Dalton Kincaid. I think he's become a big part of this offense.
Yeah, the only thing I was kind of surprised about, Buffalo had no sacks. Like, I'm surprised they were able to dominate like this and didn't even sack Garoppolo.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That was interesting, but I mean,
they're really missing Von Miller.
Yeah, I mean, because they didn't have a ton of sacks against. Or no, they were still getting pressure against the Jets, but it's just weird to me that they could win 38-10 and not have 1 sack.
Yeah, they probably just sat in zone all day, rushed 4, and just told Garoppolo, all right, what are you gonna do? And Garoppolo couldn't
do anything.
Capitalize, yeah.
So, all right.
Next we got Baltimore, Cincinnati. I believe I had Baltimore with the spread, but I had Cincinnati money line. I thought McPherson was gonna have a game winner, but other way around.
Yeah, I was way off on this.
Ravens won by 3. You had Cincinnati both ways.
Yeah, I had Cincinnati having a comeback game and winning, but unfortunately they didn't have. They did bounce back in the sense that they scored a lot more than 3, but still not a great game. Burrow didn't look great. I mean, better.
41,
definitely better.
He had a bad pick though.
But I mean, Higgins looked great. Chase, again, not really involved.
5 for 31. It's weird. I mean, he called him out. He's like, not Burrow, but he's like, we need to take more deep shots. We need to stretch the field out.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's air it out a little bit more. So hopefully Burrow plays next week and they do that. But
yeah,
I don't know. Mixon was okay, 13 for 59. I mean, not phenomenal.
And a much better game from Lamar. Good bounce back game.
Lamar Jackson, let's go. I need that for my MVP.
Yeah. So it's
MVP
definitely a better game for him.
237, 2 touchdowns. What did he do on the ground? 12 for 54. You'd love to see that. Gus the Bus punched one in. We kind of expected that. But still, him and Justice Hill it's going to be committee.
Oh, yeah. No
10 carries for Edwards, 11 for
Gus
Hill.
Edwards' injury history, I mean, the fact they lost Dobbins, I don't think they can afford to just give it to one guy.
Yeah, well, I think if one of them gets hurt, they bring in a guy like Leonard Fournette or something.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Apparently, they're in on the Acres sweepstakes. They're poking around.
And Mark Andrews looked good to his return, too.
Yeah, 5 for 45. It's solid. Zay looked good, 4 for 62.
Yeah, still super involved. That's another guy you could make a case for Rookie of the Year.
Odell went down with an injury.
Yeah, but I heard he's going to be fine from what they were saying.
Was it an ankle?
Yeah, it was ankle. They said he's like day-to-day. He should be good for next week.
Yeah,
Mark
not
Andrews
too bad.
Scored, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Andrews did score a touchdown. So did Aguilar, but my Ravens look pretty good at 2-0, Reagan.
Yeah, that they did.
But my Super Bowl pick, the Bengals at 0-2, don't look that good.
No, not at all. But a team that looked good and winning 37-31 in overtime, Seattle, my upset of the week. I've now moved to 2-0 on those picks after picking the Bucs in week 1 and now Seattle in week 2.
Yeah, he is
big bounce back week.
He's 2-0. Who's keeping track of that? Someone at home's got to be keeping track.
Yeah, come on. I mean, if you're taking them, you're making money.
Underdog of the week, baby.
2 times in a row, I gave you a +6 favorite to win, or +6 underdog to win. But yeah, I mean, a huge back bounce. What the fuck?
Huge back. Yeah, that's just terrible, dog.
It's getting late. I gotta go to bed.
Long
Let's
day
just
for
end
you.
the pod for the day. But yeah, huge bounce back game. Pete Carroll, like I said, I trust him enough to make the adjustments, even with the uncertainty with the tackles, like we were saying earlier in the week. Yeah. But I don't know. Geno stepped up. I mean, 328, 2 touchdowns. He looked great. They only allowed 1 sack this week to Detroit, who has a pretty good pass rush. I mean, obviously they have one of the better promising young guys in Hutchinson. But I was really impressed with your guy, actually, Love. He was flying around the field, too.
Julian Love?
Yeah, flying around the field, filling in for Adams. So
he is a solid player. He's. I mean, he had 13 tackles. You love that.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not great in any sense. He's not a great athlete, but he's just a very smart, instinctive player. So he's going to make some plays for you.
He's filling in for Jamal Adams and went out and got 13 tackles. And then obviously they still weren't great on the ground. 25 for 82. You'd like to see that number go up.
I mean, Walker was pretty inefficient. He did punch 2 in.
Because I don't think Gino throwing the ball 41 times and having to throw for over 300 yards is the recipe for this team.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting. Walker's still taking the lion's share of the backfield, 17 for 43, where Charbonnet had 4
Very
for 16.
inefficient, though. 2.5 a carry.
But Charbonnet seems pretty uninvolved, 4 for 16. They took him in the second round. He didn't really get a lot of touches week 1 either, so I'm just curious to see how it's going to pan out throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, I mean, their receiving core did their thing. It kind of dispersed evenly. Lockett, 8 for 59. He did have 2 scores. Metcalf, 6 for 75. The rookie JSN, 5 for 34.
Yeah.
I thought he's getting a lot of targets, but I thought he'd have some more output at this point. But still, early in the season.
Goff looked good as well. I mean, he had the 1 pick, but still had a great game. 323 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. We highlighted earlier, Montgomery went down, should be out a couple weeks. So, and then Craig Reynolds stepped in for a little bit, but towards the end of the game.
Gibbs only 7 for 17. That's not what you want to see from your first-round pick at all. Amon-Ra did his thing, 6 for 102. I love that.
But apparently he's got a toe injury, too, so we'll see.
I saw the video. It looks like it could be something like turf toe related, which, I mean, you could play through, maybe not. I don't know.
That's a bad injury.
Yeah, they're really putting in Sam Laporta into the game plan too. He had 5 catches.
Well, Jahmyr Gibbs did have 7 for 39. So
that's where they're kind of getting
the ball more. If St. Brown is to miss next week, I think Gibbs will be playing even more out wide in the slot and stuff.
I could totally see that. But they're also thin at running back. It's tough. I mean, and they're still waiting on Jameson Williams to get back. That's an element in the offense they really need.
Yeah,
Lions could be in trouble. I don't know. Hopefully, Amon-Ra's good.
Yeah, because it's like one of those things that's pain management, and obviously toe turf affects everyone differently. So
turf toe.
Yeah, turf toe.
You said toe turf.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness, brother.
Oh, gosh.
Toe turf. All right, next we got the Chargers at the Titans. I was on the Chargers in this one. Reagan was on the Titans.
Yes,
My Chargers are absolutely killing me, man. They're absolutely killing me. I mean, we've talked about them so much this pod, so we don't necessarily have to talk a lot about this team, but I mean, Herbert threw for 302 touchdowns. What more could you want from the guy? Keenan Allen's been balling out, 8 for 111 and 2 touchdowns.
I'm happy to see that Joey Bosa got 2 sacks. But I mean,
it's good, but
still the defense allowed 27 points. Ryan Tannehill didn't look good at all in the first game, and then you let him go out and throw for a big bounce back game for him. A guy who I still think
accurate.
I mean, I still think he's got some left in the tank. I mean, after week 1, I was like, maybe I was a little high on him, but this is a good bounce back game. 20 for 24 passing.
Now, is it bounce back for Tannehill, or is that Chargers defense isn't that bad?
I'd say a little bit of both, because I mean, 20 for 24, you got to be halfway decent. I mean,
yeah.
He threw a touchdown.
He threw the ball around. Traylon Burks, I like Traylon Burks. This is kind of the
Tannehill I think the Titans need. Not every week where he's just being smart with the ball, completing most of his passes. I think this team can compete if Tannehill plays to this similar level. Just being safe with it.
My guy Traylon Burks had 76 yards. I like that. Nice little deep ball. 70-yard catch.
Yeah, Henry, 25 carries for 80 yards. Not efficient, but
I will say I said a lock of the week was Henry touchdown, and that hit, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to talk about this Chargers team anymore. They're pissing me off.
I'm happy with my Titans. That was a great game. So next up, the one we were saying is a surprise. Your surprise, the Bucks, 27 points this week. Bears scored 17, so the Bucks got the win.
The Bucks. Yeah, that's good math, Reagan. The Bucks did outscore the Bears. They did win. My boy Baker threw for 317 and a touchdown. Most of that was to Mike Evans.
Why is he your boy?
You want me to say it again? I meant
it. Because he let you buy him shots.
That's not how it happened. So, but Evans averaged 28.5 yards per reception, 6 for 171, a touchdown. They're really starting to form a connection, which is pretty good to see. I will say Rachaad White did have a solid game, but it is the Bears, so I wouldn't bank on him doing that every week. I don't necessarily love him for fantasy. Godwin was solid.
I mean, Evans, like you said, he's already off to a hot start for his would it be 8th or 9th career? 8th or 9th year in a row with over 1,000 yards
in the league right now.
I think
he's at top 5.
Yeah, he's at 237 already. So
it looks like he's going to go over 1,000 again as long as he stays healthy. I mean, that D-line played really well.
This would be his 10th time doing it if he's able to do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
D-line played. Have you ever done that before?
No. Not that I know of. No. I think he has the record already, so he's just building on it.
Yeah, he's just building it.
D-line has played really well. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka had 2 sacks. Vita Vea with a sack and a half. But then again, it is the Bears and it is Justin Fields. I mean, at least bright side for the Bears, you gave all your free agent money to an off-ball linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, who had 16 tackles, but doesn't really. And T.J. Edwards had 12 tackles, but you gave all your money to linebackers.
They're making those tackles.
Should have signed pass rushers. Should have signed offensive linemen.
Corners, 0 sacks is not great because the Bucs O-line isn't terrible, but come on, you got to get a couple sacks.
I will say, the wheel was right on DJ Moore having a good game, but he didn't punch one in. He had 6 for 104. Unfortunately, the wheel did not reap rewards this week, but, we'll look forward to the future. And again, this backfield, man. Roschon, 4 for 32. Khalil Herbert, 7 for 35. Foreman did not get a touch. I don't know. I'm just staying away from that backfield right now.
Yeah, no, you and me both. I think Roschon will take over towards the end of the year, but for now, I'm not touching it.
You do think Roschon takes over?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's already pretty heavily involved, and they went out and paid Foreman, and Herbert's looked good prior. So, I mean, I just think Roschon's looked the most explosive and efficient out of all of them. So, I think he takes over by the end of the year.
I did, yeah. I kind of agree with that. He was solid at Texas.
I mean, Foreman's not even involved. He's already up to number 2 at this point. So,
that's a good point.
So, next up, we got the Chiefs. They beat the Jaguars 17-9. A game we both thought was going to be a barn burner. Didn't get a lot of points at all.
Not a lot of points, but we both did get Chiefs -3, right? I thought that was definitely the right move. There's no way the champs go to 0-2. They owned the Jaguars last year.
Terrible game for T-Law, too.
Yeah, T-Law got me, I think 7 fantasy points. Just not good.
16.5 QBR. I mean, he 22 of 41, a little bit over 50% completion rate. I mean, not good.
I don't know what happened. We will say, though, Christian Kirk had his game. So Ridley went off week 1, and then Kirk went for 11, 110 in week 2. And Ridley
wasn't even a
2
factor.
for 32.
I mean, he had 8 targets, which you love to see, but only 2 catches.
It's just tough for fantasy because you don't know which guy's going to go off.
I think Ridley's going to be good season long. I just think it's one game where you just got to throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Clearly, the Chiefs had their number yet again, so...
Yeah, I mean, Pat Mahomes did Pat Mahomes things, throwing for 300. Kelsey is back, He was
limited.
With Taylor Swift.
But 4 for 26 and a touchdown. He didn't burn you in the week. He was limited.
And Sky Moore, I was just a week late. I mean, a week early on that.
Yeah.
He had caught a touchdown. He learned how to catch the ball again.
I'll count it.
Yeah, I mean. But then again, I look at that, and Mahomes completed a pass to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different receivers. That's crazy. So
yeah.
I don't really want to start anyone in this offense unless it's Travis Kelce, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, really just Kelce. I mean, you can still start Pacheco, too, obviously.
Yeah, he had a bounce back, 12 for 70, but yeah, I mean, it's just weird. Clyde got the first carry in the opening week, and in this game he gets 1 carry for 0 yards, just totally out. Guess they were trying to give Pacheco some time to get back in, but yeah, it's one we both expected to have happen.
All right, and then the last 1 o'clock, the Colts pretty much smacked around the Texans, 31-20. Stroud had a crazy amount of passing yards.
384 and 2 touchdowns. I gotta say, he's looked better than I thought. Better than I thought he would. He did take 6 sacks, which you don't like because that Texans offensive line is so beat up. Dude.
Obviously, a lot of yards came in prevent too. When the Colts are up 31-10 going into the fourth quarter, you're going to get some garbage time yards. But still, I mean, 384 yards in a game as a rookie, that's a lot of yards.
They're going to get him.
Nico Collins also went nuclear. I mean, 7.
He threw the ball 40 plus times.
Yeah, 47 times, yeah. Nico Collins had 7 catches for 146 yards on a touchdown. So that's a great game for fantasy.
Great game, man. Great game.
Zach Moss looked good for the...
What about Tank Dell? Can we talk about Tank Dell?
We can talk a little bit about Tank Dell, yeah.
That's the guy Stroud wanted. 7 for 72, had his first touchdown. I love Tank Dell. I have him in Dynasty. I would stash him as well.
It's a good pick. I think you can pick him up in redraft leagues, too.
Yeah. Houston's, though, they're really thin up front right now. Well, Tunsil's out. Titus Howard's out.
They're missing 4 out of their 5 regular starters.
Yeah, Juice Scruggs is out.
Yeah.
Man, they're
I would say for Dameon Pierce, too. I mean, with him, he's not doing a lot, but if you actually watch these games, he's getting hit in the backfield every single time.
15 for 31. And it's not on him, man.
I saw a stat. 30 of his 31 yards came after contact. He had 15 carries, and 30 of his 31 yards came after contact.
That is actually an absurd stat.
So he was literally getting hit as soon as he got the ball every time. So the fact that he still got 31 yards is kind of crazy when you were hit every time you got the ball and still made it to go forward. So I think once they get their O-line healthy, he'll have better days ahead for fantasy. I definitely would not be dropping him, and I honestly wouldn't be trading him because I think you're going to get load balled, but I would definitely be targeting him on the cheap.
Yeah, if you can get it for cheap. I'm still not super high on that offense.
No, I'm not high on that offense, but he's clearly a lot more involved than Singletary. And the fact that I tell you that stat, he's still got 31 yards when he's getting hit every time, and the line's going to get healthy. And Zach Moss looked good. So as long as Jonathan Taylor's out, he's clearly the guy there. No other running backs even touched the ball, so.
That's a good point. I mean, Richardson looked good running the ball before that concussion.
Until he got the concussion, yeah.
3 for 35 and 2 touchdowns, and I don't know if you saw the second one, that reverse, fake reverse, and he came out the other way where he got concussed. That was a sick play call, but we're seeing the rushing upside already.
You think he plays this week?
I don't know if he plays this week, but I will say, like, he's looking like he could be a top 10 fantasy quarterback for the season, man. That rushing upside is just so elite.
Yeah, this would have been a huge fantasy day.
He's this year's Justin
He still ended up having a solid. Not like amazing game, but I think he still ended up having like 16 fantasy points.
Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns.
2 rushing touchdowns and 35 on the ground.
Threw for 56, 6
I think he may have actually still finished as like a top 15 quarterback, even with only playing the first quarter.
Yeah, I took the Colts just because I love Richardson. I didn't really know where this game was going to go. It's just such a weird game with teams that were bad.
I took the Texans before I knew it, before all these linemen got ruled out, and I just didn't change it because I said it on the pod.
Well,
so
even Gardner Minshew tore up this defense, so Houston still has some work to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, well, that wraps up all the 1 o'clock games, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the 4 o'clock and the primetime games. What's up, guys? Like we said earlier, I lost the bet on the Jets-Cowboys spread. The Cowboys ended up covering -9. Therefore, I'm going to be eating the meal that Colin cooked up. So if you guys want to watch me eat some disgusting meal that Chef Tong cooks up, check it out on social media over the next couple days. It'll be out on Instagram and all the other platforms.
Yeah, Reagan, I am excited to be your personal chef tomorrow, as all my friends
Well, I'm
know.
not.
I am no cook at all. I can only do chicken and rice, and that's about it. So, really going to experiment tomorrow, and I can't wait for you to try it.
Well, I'm not, so. But I'm sure you guys are. You can check that out on social media. That'll be fun.
All right, bringing us back in. Niners, Rams. Niners win 30-23. We're both on Niners. Oh, no. I was on Niners -7.5. We were both on a money line. You were on Rams +7.5. So they covered.
What a cover. Sean McVay with 4 seconds left calling the timeout.
That's crazy, bro.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
McVay knew I needed it.
People were saying he did that because in the analytics department, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, it could be like points.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
point differential. Just get 3.
It makes sense. Plus,
interesting. Very interesting. But on the Niners side, Purdy did his thing. 206. No touchdowns, though, but he took care of the ball. He did his job. McCaffrey pounded one in. So
he had one rushing touchdown.
He did have a rushing touchdown, yeah.
He missed Debo on a couple wide-open touchdowns, though.
And he missed Ayuk on a deep one as well.
Yeah, a couple misses.
Ayuk played through his shoulder.
But it didn't matter in the long run.
Yeah, they kind of, I don't know, kind of just ran the ball, protected it, played good defense.
Yeah, great defense.
But
2 picks.
Yeah, 2 picks off of Stafford. Stafford still threw for 300. Kyren Williams, 14 for 52 and a touchdown against the San Francisco defense is actually pretty good.
Well, if he's available in your leagues, you've got to pick him up.
I just think
he's the number 2.
Available.
He's the number. I think he still is. I don't think a lot of people picked him up after week 1.
He was picked up. Every league I was in, he's picked up.
Yeah, but still, he's probably 60% owned. After tomorrow, he's not going to be if there's any way he's on your waiver wire, which I think in a lot of leagues he probably still is. Pick him up. If say Jerome Ford and Kyren Williams are both on your waiver wire, who are you going for?
Kyren Williams, because Ford seems like he has more competition coming, where Kyren Williams just totally took control of that backfield. No other running backs even getting carries.
Yeah. Actually, legit, no other running back got a carry in the game.
Yeah, they had a couple of the receivers, but, we talked about Puka Nacua a little bit earlier, 15 for 147. Jeez, man. 20 targets. That is literally Cooper Kupp numbers, so when Cooper Kupp comes back, it'll be interesting to see how it's dispersed.
30.1 in a full-point PPR league. That's crazy.
Crazy. Maybe it's more, even than what it's been in the past with Kupp, just getting all the targets. Maybe they spread it out a little bit more.
We've seen this offense with Kupp and Woods sustain 2 high-end wide receivers.
Yeah.
So would it be that? With Goff the one year, they both ended the season as top 12 wide receivers for fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there's a world where Nacua still is very good. I think the target share has to go down because there's no way he's getting 20 targets when Cooper Kupp's there.
Yeah, there's no shot. Also, Tutu Atwell's still there, 7 for 77 on 9 targets. He's still going to draw some attention as well. So
yeah, this offense looks a lot better than a lot of people expected.
Stafford's just really slinging it. He looks healthy, but our biggest worry was the offensive line, and they only let up 1 sack to San Francisco, which I was very surprised.
I still think Stafford's a sneaky dark horse for MVP.
Yeah, that could be sneaky. They'd have to make the playoffs, but...
this is a game you expected them to lose, and he looked pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, and they only lost by 7.
You give him Cooper Kupp, I think this game's even closer, obviously. So
yeah, not the end of the world, man. They're playing a lot tougher than I expected.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about my New York Football Giants, huh?
Yeah, that was an interesting game. A game where
Woo!
I predicted it to end that way. I didn't think it was going to be 28-7 at one point, but it is a game where I actually said the Giants were going to win on essentially a game-winning field goal by 3. So I'll pat myself on the back for that one.
Can I just say I've never had a more roller coaster experience watching a football game in my entire life. That was just
I bet not.
The first half, just season's over, we're done, we suck, this is awful, just so frustrated. And in the second half, it's like, all right, let's get a stop. All right, let's get another. Daniel Jones, do your thing. Saquon, do your thing. You know, Daniel Jones, first quarterback in NFL history with 250 passing yards, 50 rushing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and no turnovers in a half. Do your thing, Daniel Jones, baby, right there on the screensaver right there. I mean, come on, man. I'm happy we won, but god damn it, the defense has to clean it up. Because that was pathetic, seeing Josh Dobbs and James Conner run the ball down their throat.
I mean, the offense still needs to clean it up. It's good they showed flashes.
They do.
Still, you can say they had 2 good quarters, but we still can't forget they went 6 scoreless.
6 quarters where they were down 80 to 60 to nothing. 60 to nothing. It's just that's terrible. I will say Jalen Hyatt 2 for 89. He only had 16 snaps, but when
I think they got to get him clearly more involved.
They have to. He draws so much attention, and when he was on the field, Daniel Jones, I think I saw he went 11 to 13.
I mean, had a couple look at the other weapons. I mean, I don't.
Darren Waller's doing his thing, bro. He's that classic chain mover. Hyatt's going to take the top off the defense.
He's the safety blanket.
Waller's going to work underneath, be that chain mover.
I honestly expected really a better game from him. I expected a better game because the Cardinals are the worst team.
It's 6 for 78.
Yeah,
76,
I know.
Bro.
But let me finish. The Cardinals are the worst against tight ends in fantasy.
Well, that's funny you said that because you didn't just let me finish what I was saying when you interrupted me.
Well, you didn't. You interrupted me. So I had to...
You interrupted me to say what you were saying.
No. You interrupted me the first time, and then I interrupted you, and then you interrupted me, so then I came back in, and then now we're here. So let me finish as a leader here. So, yeah, the Cardinals last year were the worst against tight ends, so I fully expected Darren Waller to have a better game. I was hoping he got in, but still, it's a great game for him fantasy-wise because tight end's not really a premium position, so... But yeah, he clearly showed what he can look like in this offense, so definitely a good second game for him.
He leads all tight ends in receiving yards after 2 weeks.
Yeah, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, he's
that's honestly crazy to think.
He looks phenomenal.
That just shows you how the position is just so scarce.
It is. But him and Daniel Jones.
I think Hunter Henry's the #1 fantasy tight end right now, and he has 100 receiving yards. He just has 2
he's
touchdowns.
Actually second in receiving yards, but he has 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Saquon did his thing, 17 for 63. Not super efficient, but he had a lot of good, tough runs. He had the dagger at the end of the game. He had a touchdown. His receiving touchdown was beautiful. Jones hit him in stride, dove for the pylon, so that was nice. But unfortunately, we talked about the ankle.
Yeah, definitely try to get Breida if you can.
Yeah, we'd love to see more. We'll see.
I think you could spot start him. I mean, I fully expect... we'll get more into the game in a minute, but I think Matt Breida, if Saquon's not there, he's going to get probably 80 to 90% of the work. So I think even if the Giants
I feel like they'll mix in Eric Ray, the rookie.
Still, even if that happens, I still think Breida's going to be the receiving back, and I think the Giants are going to be trailing a lot in this game, so I think there's going to be a lot of garbage time work for Breida in the passing game. So I definitely think you can flex him and be happy with the results.
Yeah, it's also a really tough matchup, so I wouldn't force him in over someone that's been solid for you at a flex spot, but I'd definitely stash him.
Yeah, I think off of sheer volume.
I mean, but if you're starting Saquon and you don't have another option, plug him in. Yeah. But I wouldn't start him over a guy like Zach Moss or Jerome Ford this week.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean? He should be low priority because Saquon's going to be out 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Maximum, it sounds like. So.
Yeah.
And even then, I'd rather have a guy like Ford or Williams that are going to be the season-long #1.
Absolutely. All right, man. We have to do it. We have to talk about your New York Jets.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. They got their ass kicked.
Yeah, we did. Defense did not look good.
Yeah, which I was surprised with. I thought this was going to be more of a low-scoring game. I thought it'd be 20-10, and it was 30-10.
Yeah, I mean, all the momentum kind of shifted. The momentum we had shifted in the first half when Sauce dropped a pick 6. Essentially,
that
didn't help.
After the game, Mike was like, "Yo, you gotta catch."
CD said that.
CD said it. Yeah, they both were like, "Man, no." Mike was like, "You gotta work on that," and he's like, "Dude, I was on the jug machine and do shit." CD's like, "Man, you gotta learn to catch."
And then when Dalvin fumbled early in the third quarter,
Dalvin does not look great.
Granted,
he looks tough matchups. 2 tough matchups, I will say. But
he looks cooked.
Yeah,
I mean, Brees is definitely the better guy. I'm happy we have Dalvin the mix in there, but Brees, I mean, I don't know how he can handle the ball 4 times. I really don't understand that.
I mean, I traded for him in fantasy after that huge game. The next week, he goes 4 for 9 yards. I was a little disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's better days ahead, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this one game is one of those to toss out the window. I mean, I was happy with Zach Wilson.
I was going to ask
you watched the game
because that's what my buddy Max said. He was like,
a lot of people look at it.
Looks bad,
a lot of people didn't watch the game and they look at it and they're like, "Oh, Zach Wilson, 3
picks." Yeah,
but all 3 of his picks came in the second half when they were down big. He was trying to force shit to make stuff happen. He looked great on the ground. He led us a field goal drive right before halftime. We had back-to-back runs for first down, so he looked good. He was using his legs, which I think with our line struggles, he's going to have to. So I don't pin this loss on him at all. A lot of people in the media were like already saying like, "Oh, he can't be your quarterback." But
was that thing Shannon Sharp said he couldn't play dead in the movie or something?
Just like stupid shit.
That's
like
pretty fucked up.
It's just the guys just don't watch the games, and then they're just like, "Oh, it's Wilson's fault." Like it was our defense's fault. And I will say before everyone goes, Sauce got cooked by CD. Sauce didn't allow a catch against Lamb. It was Lamb cooking Michael.
Didn't follow him.
I mean, you guys did. I mean, you can't just not blame the offense at all. They scored 10 points.
Yeah. No, I'm not blaming the offense.
You said it was the defense's fault. Like
I'm just not blaming Zach Wilson because it seems every time the Jets lose, it's always Zach Wilson's fault, and for once, it wasn't his fault.
At least Garrett Wilson took a slant to the house.
Yeah, and there was a couple misses that Zach missed him on, but I'm happy with Zach after that. I mean, Dallas' defense is just so good.
It's a very good defense. I mean, we'll see how he fares next week against New England, who I think New England's historically had his number, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, they've had the Jets' number historically, so.
But I'm just talking to Zach Wilson, Aaron. Like, I don't think he's really played well against Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, we've lost the last 14 games against them, so.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's talk about Dallas real quick. Dak actually looked very good, very efficient, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 11 for 143.
Yeah, he looked great. They were moving around all over the field.
That's kind of what I expected it was going to be like, man.
Yeah, they were throwing him on DJ Reed. They were throwing him in the slot. They were just keeping him away from Sauce and was working.
Pollard looked good again, 25 for 72. He's just going to get a ton of touches.
And the thing with Pollard is it was just it was super efficient.
7 catches, too?
Yeah, the 25 carries, you'd like to see the efficiency go up, but obviously the Jets are one of the better run defenses, so it's expected. And honestly, he broke away one, so it was one of those things where he was just chipping away and finally got one out. But
I will say leader for Depoy right now, do you have it as Micah Parsons or TJ Watt? Who would you take?
Probably lean Parsons just because their defense has allowed 10 points, and he's the main reason behind it.
Yeah, he had 4 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, TFL.
I mean, obviously Watt's got more sacks, but
forced fumble, but
the Browns and 49ers both cooked, or the Browns didn't cook their defense, but they still put up 20 plus. So
whoa!
Did they not?
The Browns defense. The Browns.
Did they? The team scored. Well, they had that one. Yeah, they had 22 points yesterday.
Yeah, but I felt like there was bad plays by the Steelers that kind of gave them.
Well, they gave them good position, but still. I mean,
they had 2 defensive touchdowns.
The Steelers did, yeah. Yes.
And Watt was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, he's scooping.
I'm just saying, my whole point is the Cowboys have allowed 10 points all year with Micah Parsons being the leader of the defense.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's close. You can go either way. But I think I said Micah Parsons preseason, but he just looks unblockable.
I lean Parsons right now.
He looks unblockable.
I'm probably going to still lean him because he's going to go off against the Cardinals this week.
That's a good point. He might have 3 sacks this week.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, the Cowboys are going to kill them.
All right, that wraps up that game. We can move on. How about the Commanders and the Broncos? A nice little 16-point comeback from Sam Howell and the Commanders.
Dude, Howell looks good so
299,
far.
2 touchdowns. He does look good. I'm surprised.
He lit up a good defense.
He looks good, man. He looks really good. This is a great defense. They blew a lead in the second half. Brian Robinson ran for 87 and 2 touchdowns. Howell did a good job dispersing the ball to all of his weapons. McLaurin got one in. Wow, I mean, I'm surprised by Howell. I will say he's looked pretty solid.
Yeah, there's another team that with that question earlier that's like, who's a big surprise so far? I mean, granted, they beat the Broncos, a team that won 5 games last year,
and the Cardinals,
a team. So it's tough to say they're a huge surprise because they won 2 games they should have won. But
I believe they have Buffalo and Philly coming up.
They have Buffalo this week. Those will be good tests. If they can win one of those games, they might be for real. I mean, this is a team that, with these 2 wins right off the bat, I mean, they look like a team that could be fighting for a playoff spot. Their defense is pretty good. Obviously, you don't love seeing that they allowed 33 points.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. But granted, one was on a Hail Mary at the end of the game, so they let up 27.
And it's good. Chase Young's back, 1.5 sacks.
Yeah, if you're Commanders fan, you love that. You love that. A sack and a half. I am surprised that they still gave up that many points. It must have been their secondary getting torched up a little bit.
Yeah. But Forbes had his first pick, too.
They didn't really run the ball super effectively. Yeah, Forbes did have his first pick. He's looked pretty good early on. He's going to be a ball hawk. He's going to have a lot of interceptions this league, I think.
Who didn't run the ball efficiently?
I was saying Denver didn't run the ball.
Oh, Denver, yeah.
I mean, Russell Wilson did, but
Washington did.
Yeah, so they beat him through the air. Marvin Mims 2 for 113. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, they really didn't. Yeah, they really abandoned the run.
They just started airing it out, but it looked like it was a lot of big plays, man.
Yeah,
a lot of big plays. Marvin Mims did have a touchdown as well, but we mentioned earlier Russell Wilson threw for a lot of yards, 3 touchdowns, 308 yards, but he did take 7 sacks against this Washington front. Not what you want to see.
No. I mean, half of the sacks I don't even blame on the line. Russell Wilson half the time just turns around and
he does. He holds the ball.
He holds the ball so long.
Yeah.
Like it's tough to blame the line for some of those.
He did take a couple that were very bad.
Yeah. But it should be interesting. I'm really excited to see how Washington does over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, be a good test for him.
Yeah.
Next, we got the Miami Dolphins against the Patriots. I was on the Dolphins. You were on the Pats on this one.
I was on the Pats. I trusted Paul Keller way too much.
Yeah, that's a
Thanks a lot, Helen.
Oh, my God. Pause. They did make it very close at the end, though. A little controversy.
Yeah.
The 4th down that they called it first, and 69
then it's not. Strange. 69 Strange.
69 Strange.
Cole Strange, baby.
Get a nice catch.
Very interesting, man. They kind of classic Patriots. They really tried to limit the Dolphins going deep in this one.
I mean, they
had
did.
Safeties deep. Yeah, it was like, okay.
The game plan worked. You just can't let Raheem Mostert cook like he did.
Yeah, he had 18 for 121 and 2 touchdowns, and that's kind of what they wanted him to do. They wanted McDaniel to try to slow play it and run the ball. You're not going to beat us with these big plays with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Although Hill did score, that was a close one. Waddle did have a big catch of 32 yards, but they kind of held him in check compared to what most teams would do, which is what I kind of anticipated. But yeah, when you only have 5 or 6 guys in the box, it's just run the football, you know. And Mostert had a big game.
Mostert's looking like he's going to keep this job too. With him, it's always been a health thing. So if he can stay healthy, I know he put on some weight in the offseason, so it'll be interesting to see if he actually can stay healthy.
I don't know if he's ever played more than 12 games.
No, he's never played a full season. He's 31 years old and never played a full season. Granted, he hasn't had a ton of opportunities since he was one of those guys that started later in his career, or when he fully got a job. But still, it'd be cool to see him play actually 16 games for once.
And if you're a Miami fan, Tua took 1 sack this week after taking none the week before.
Yeah, the line
you got to be happy with that. I think McDaniel's doing a good job of getting the ball out quick. I don't know if you noticed a lot of the motions he's using where guys kind of do a quick sprint out and go upfield, and it's really letting them
their
eat up that ground and the DB quickly.
They tried a lot of different stuff, but they got some tough matchups coming up next. So
yeah, they do. I do like the way McDaniel's calling this offense. He's protecting Tua. So, I mean, if you're a Dolphins fan, you got
because they got the Broncos, the Bills, and their next 2. So those are 2.
Whoa! You don't want to mention that they got the Giants after that? What the hell?
Well,
that's fucked up.
Sorry. I was more so saying just the next 2 since we did for the last.
You could have said that. You know.
All right, fine. Year. Then I gotta include the Eagles too. So, you want me to include the Eagles?
No, I don't care about that one.
Oh, okay.
Next, we got your Saints and the Carolina Panthers.
Another
Saints
big win for
won
the
by
Saints.
3. We
boring
pushed.
Game.
That was such a boring game, man. I will say I wasn't impressed with either offense necessarily.
I was impressed with Taysom Hill. He looked good.
Taysom Hill, 9 for 75, man. I love how he's sitting in the shotgun and they just spread him out.
I don't know how the play works. He's going to
Orlovsky literally goes to the booth. He goes, they're all going to run sticks, and Hill's going to either throw it or run right up the middle. And it's literally just what happened.
Yeah.
And they ran it all day, and it's it's coming. They don't really trust him to throw the ball downfield, I don't think. But he completed one pass for 8 yards.
Yeah. But Olave had an insane catch.
Yeah, Chris Olave looks really good, man.
Michael Thomas had a good one, too.
Yeah. Michael Thomas looks good, too.
Olave's such a crisp route runner. 6 for 86. You love to see it. He's going to become a true number 1 in this receiver if he is not already very soon.
Yeah.
He looks really good.
And Michael Thomas looked good, too. 7 for 55.
Yeah, he had a lot of nice catches.
If he can stay healthy, he's definitely a startable fantasy asset. I'd definitely be looking for, if you can get Rashid Shaheed in any leagues, I'd definitely try to target him. I mean, he's a guy who's had 2 back-to-back weeks of being viable for fantasy, so he's a guy I'd pick up on my bench and stash. He's clearly a burner, so Carr's hit him twice for deep balls now, so I could see some big touchdowns coming down the road.
Did you see the clip after the Week 1 game where they were talking? He's like, just go, just go, Sheehy, just go.
Yeah, they did the same exact play.
Yeah, it sounds like they're building a really good connection, so it's definitely a good stash, especially in Dynasty, I'd say. Unfortunately, Jamal Williams went out with a hammy. Don't know how long he's going to be out, but they are thin at running back. They even had Taysom Hill line up at running back at one point in the game. Tony Jones, I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, but he had 2.8 yards per carry. He didn't really look that good.
No.
They weren't really blocking this. I mean, the Panthers have a solid defense. You know, they have a pretty good front. Unfortunately, they lost Shaq Thompson, linebacker, I think, for the season. Which hurts. I think he broke his leg, so that's going to hurt that defense already without J.C. Horn.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Chin
and I think Burns was a little shaken up. Like, he wasn't in at the end on some of those big plays.
Yeah, he wasn't. That's a good point. He was out. Jeremy Chin looked good, though, I will say.
Yeah, and I think with the running back room, if Kendre Miller comes back next week, that'll be a big chance. Yeah. Jamal Williams already ruled out multi-week, and Kamara's out one more week, so hopefully Kendre Miller comes back next week. And
I'd like to see Kendre. I have him in one league stash, so I'd like to see what he can do. On the Panthers side, I mean, it just seems like they're not letting Bryce Young really open it up yet.
They didn't do anything with him. They let him throw the ball on the last drive when the Saints were in prevent.
He averaged 4.6 yards per completion. I mean, that's just like, they're just dinking and dunking.
And if you take away the last drive, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Like, he got like half of his passing yards on the last drive.
Not good, man. Not good. I mean, Sanders wasn't effective running the ball either. I get the Saints have a pretty good defense, man, but...
Yeah, the Saints defense looks good.
It seems like they're protecting him right now. They're not taking the training wheels off, so...
No. Not like the Texans are with Stroud.
And you said, and you said this earlier, you don't love the weapons. I don't either. I mean, Thielen was all right, 754 and a touchdown, but...
A lot of drop passes.
A lot of drops. I mean, Chark doesn't... I mean, he's not good.
He was limited, Chark.
Mingo's just... Good. He's young.
He said going into the game, Chark was going to be limited, but still... they got to get him like a true number 1, and I know that's not going to happen this year, but hopefully in next year's draft they can get someone in the second round or trade in for a first rounder.
Yeah, it just sucks that they had to trade their first round pick to go get Young.
They might be able to sign someone. I haven't looked at the free agents yet for next year, but they got to go get him somebody.
They do. He needs a true number 1. Finally, last game of the week, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Browns at home 26-22. We were both on the Steelers in this one. Man, that defense looked really good. 2 defensive touchdowns, the pick 6 in the first play of the game, and then to win the game, essentially, Highsmith strips Deshaun Watson, where Jedrick Wills just looked like he wasn't even trying to block him. Scoop and score by T.J. Watt. Man, that defense is good, but I will say the offense is not at all.
No.
The run game, I mean, your boy Najee, 10 for 43, long of 21.
Yeah. It was funny. He came on 2 runs in back-to-back plays.
Yeah, literally. And
this offensive line is terrible. They can't block at all.
I mean, even
I'm surprised
Pickett
Pickett wasn't sacked more than twice. I mean, it seemed like he was running backwards the whole entire time.
Yeah, Pickett went 15 of 30 for 222, a touchdown.
He didn't look good.
I'm telling you, man, I don't see the second-year jump that a lot of people anticipated. It seems like, I don't know about you, it looked like he was just staring down his number 1 target the entire game.
Yeah.
And on that pick that he threw early on that slant, like he's just staring at him. And it was easy for Delpit to jump that pass. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at least he hit George Pickens on that slant. I think George Pickens needs to get more targets. That was a sick catch. He had 4 for 127, a touchdown. You got to get him more involved.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the jump from Kenny Pickett. And the Steelers fans are chanting to fire Matt Canada. Do you think that solves their issues?
No. I think there's more issues here. I think they have way too many offensive line issues. And honestly, outside of Pickens, they don't have a lot of talent in the wide receiver core. I mean, granted, Deontay Johnson, they just put him on the 4-game IR, so he's going to be out for a while. So I think they need to get more weapons.
We know Allen Robinson is not going to be that guy. I mean, I like that they involved Jaylen Warren more in the passing game. I'd almost toy around with lining him up in the slot a little bit.
Yeah, no, he looked explosive as a receiver. I mean, I just think they just kind of give up on the run so easily too. I mean, they still were able to rush between their 2 backs. They still had 63 rushing yards on 16 carries. Like, I feel like they just give up on it too quickly. Like, they got to take some weight off of Pickett's shoulders. I just don't think the recipe is for them to win games is having Pickett.
Yeah, but I think those numbers are skewed because those 2
they're a little skewed.
But Najee had those 2 long carries back to back. But if you take that out, I mean, they probably had 14 carries for like 20 yards.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I still think to take some weight off of Pickett's shoulder, they got to get this run game going somehow. Whether it's with Najee or Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, man.
Because I don't see how this team could be successful with Pickett throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, going to this Cleveland defense, I mean, They look legit. They let up 3 points week 1 to Cincinnati, and they let up 12.
They got screwed. They got screwed last night.
Screwed, man. I mean, Myles Garrett is an absolute beast. Grant Delpit's been all over the field. He's been one of the best defensive backs in football this year. I don't know if you remember him. He was at LSU. He was like a he was a first-team All-American or preseason first-team All-American, and he just didn't really have that season. But he was a monster at LSU, and he fell all the way to the 4th round in the draft. But he's starting to look like that player at LSU again, which is great to see. Denzel Ward had a lot of nice pass breakups too. I mean, he's legit. He's a top corner, and I mean, this pass rush looked really good.
I mean, I was honestly surprised to see it was only 2 sacks because it seemed like they were putting a lot of pressure on Pickett.
It's a good point. I think he got hit a lot more and just was able to get it out. Yeah, but that is a good point.
I mean, they had 2 takeaways as well. So
yeah, Jerome Ford. I mean, he did have that long carry of 70 yards. Other than that, he had 15 for 28 yards.
Yeah.
Not very efficient, but still I'd take him in fantasy because it is a very good offensive line.
No, I would definitely pick up Ford. I mean, this team wants to run the ball. Clearly, Watson isn't what he was, and this team needs to be run first for this team to succeed.
Absolutely. Amari did have a good day too. If you have him in fantasy, 7 for 90.
Yeah.
How many? Did you see how many catches? I felt like Elijah Moore had 3 catches at the sideline.
Yeah, he had a lot where he just couldn't get his feet.
He could have had such a bigger day.
Yep.
But he only ended up 3 for 36 on 9 targets. That's crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that wraps up this week's recap. Before we end the show, we just want to break down the Giants-49ers game. Lions currently set at 10 points in favor of the 49ers. The game is in San Francisco as well, so how do you see it playing out? I'll let you go first as the Giants fan.
As an unbiased fan.
I said the Giants are playing, not the Jets.
Yeah, good one.
Thanks.
I will say this is a very difficult game on the road on a short week without Saquon Barkley. Now, what Giants team is going to show up? It's going to be the one for the first 6 quarters of the season or the last 2 quarters of the Arizona game where Daniel Jones was lights out. If Daniel Jones plays like that, we have a chance to win this game.
Andrew Thomas is good to go, right?
He's questionable. He's a game-time decision. We also do need Andrew Thomas to help block.
Because if he doesn't play.
Because we lost Ben Bredesen, our starting left guard, as well with a concussion. So we're thin on the line. We do need Andrew Thomas pretty badly. Azeez Ojulari is also questionable. We need him because Jihad Ward did not do much the other day. So if Daniel Jones plays like that, we got a shot. I think the Niners win this game. I'm going to go the Giants do cover, though, the 10 points.
So what do you think? Barely cover?
I think they're going to get a backdoor cover and lose by 7.
Gotcha. Yeah, and also it could help Brandon Ayuk. It doesn't look like he's going to play either. He's questionable right now. I think they hold him out.
My whole fantasy team's hurt, too.
I definitely think they hold him out. I mean, you're 2-0. You're at home. You're a 10-point favorite. You have Super Bowl aspirations. Why put a guy in?
But he dealt with that shoulder on Sunday as well, and he played through it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I think if they're smart, they'll hold him out. Just a team that has been one of those teams with a lot of guys that have injury issues, like McCaffrey, Kittle. Some of these guys always have these lingering injuries. Why risk it if you can give them a week off? So we'll see there. But I do think the Giants cover as well. I think it's backdoor cover also. I think it's one of those ones where San Fran's up like 2 scores, and the Giants are able to punch one in at the end. And yeah, I mean, do I think the Giants can win? I really don't see a world where they win. Is it possible? Yeah, if they can get pressure on Purdy and he misses some of the big throws like he did last week, it's always possible. But I just don't see this offense being able to move the ball like they did in that second half because this defense is a lot different than Arizona's.
Defense is absolutely legit. And also without the threat of Barkley, those RPOs can be tougher for those passing windows to open up with Darren Waller and then Slayton kind of over the middle of the field and Hodgins. And I will say that you make a good point. They need to get a pass rush going. The pass rush has not been there. Dexter Lawrence has been the only one applying pressure. Where's Leonard Williams? Where's Kayvon Thibodeau?
Yeah, and you can't let McCaffrey get going.
They need to step up because the young DBs are playing well.
And if they can, honestly, I saw McCaffrey scored a touchdown in like 12 or 13 straight games. So
he has. I did see the Giants have not allowed more than like 40 yards receiving and a receiving touchdown to running back in like 20 straight games, though.
If there's any running back to do it, it's going to be him.
He is the one to do it. And
him or Eckler would be the one.
I think the Giants' run defense was not great last week against James Conner, which should have been improved with everyone they brought in. I mean, I think McCaffrey probably does punch one in the ground this week, to be honest with
you. He's just too good.
I hate to say it.
When he's healthy, disgusting. He's the best running back in the league.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
He's so dynamic.
Yeah, and he works perfect in that Shanahan offense. Just perfect.
Yeah, that he does.
Well, that wraps up this episode. Looking forward to the next one, Reagan.
Yeah, and make sure you guys check out the social media pages over the next couple days. We're going to be posting the wheel videos. You'll get to see me eat whatever Colin decides to whip up.
I can't wait to cook that up, man.
She'll be interesting. And then on Thursday's show, we're going to talk about Week 3 preview. We'll have another bet for you guys. But yeah, keep filling out the questions for us. We love doing it before the show. And if you guys have any more punishment ideas and stuff, submit it. Thank you. So thanks.